What's good, fuckers? How's it going? Your boys here. Today we're going to be reacting to and critiquing this old video by the food theorist. It's called Can You Survive on One Food Only? Now, obviously, we know this is obviously true. Get some raw, fatty, red meat, or even white meat. Actually, white meat's not fatty enough, so you probably couldn't survive only off of it. You need some fat. But some raw, fatty, red meat. Right, we've got records that's the only thing people survived on in the Ice Age, for right anthropological records, and obviously it's possible, right? Just like any animal, we mostly only eat very few foods anyway, not in nature. But we're gonna see what this mainstream little brainwash type video has to say. We'll see if it's interesting. So let's get started.
If you could only eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be? It's a question that people have been asking each other for fun for like ever. And sure, most people just ask in the context of like, what is your favorite food? But today, I am asking the question literally. If you could only eat one food for the rest of your life, what would it be? Because here's...
So yeah, obviously if I ask this question, I'm going fatty red meat. Hits the spot every time if you're hungry. You can't get tired of it. It's natural human food, bro. The same way a cow can't get tired of grass. Imagine if a cow woke up and said, I don't want grass today, I need something else. Not how that works.
Here's the thing, there is a right and wrong answer to that question, provided of course that you actually want to live a long and healthy life. If your answer is like, I don't know, cocktail wieners for the rest of your life is gonna be a lot shorter than you might expect. So what should you be...
Not a terrible choice, honestly. I mean, the bread and the carbs, it's gonna activate your Randall cycle when it mixes with that meat. You'd probably be pretty fat, and could be some anti-nutrients and lectins in the bread, and that's also a lot of portion of bread to the meat. But maybe even better than what he might recommend.
You're responding with the next time someone asks you that question, the answer is a lot more controversial than you might expect.
Forgot about this intro, bro.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Food Theory, the correct answer to the question, if you could only subscribe to one digital series about food for the rest of your life, what would it be? Which means that if you're not subscribed yet, well then you should hit that button right below this video.
It'd be GOTUS.
It is the correct answer after all. So the question of one food for the rest of your life is a bit of a tricky one. Like, what in this case defines food? One individual item? One composed dish? How many ingredients are we talking about? Because the answer is gonna be different for each of those. I mean, you guys know me. I'm a nerd who tries to think through all of the different loopholes. And if you ask me the question without restricting my options, I'm gonna choose a sandwich. And the follow-up question is inevitably, well, what's on that sandwich? And I'm gonna say all the ingredients. Like all. Put every food in existence between two slices of bread, and boom, the spirit of the game. So let's look. Well, for that, the potato is actually going to be one of your best choices. You see, vegetables, for all their vitamins and minerals, don't have enough...
What vitamins and minerals, bud? The amount of vitamins and minerals you actually get from vegetables, considering how much of it is bound to the fiber, which is obviously the digestible part of the plant, so you can't actually absorb it, and even the amount that you do absorb, the amount that's taken away by anti-nutrients, like, bro, vitamins and minerals from vegetables, come on.
Fat or protein to keep you alive and healthy. Meat, meanwhile, doesn't have enough fiber and is missing...
Meat's missing fiber? Yeah. Oh, what an essential nutrient, fiber. Indigestible plant matter, bro. My doctor did tell me I have fiber deficiency. That's my bad.
Several other key nutrients, but...
Wait, he just said it's...
alive and healthy. Meat, meanwhile, doesn't have enough fiber and is missing several other key nutrients.
What? What other key nutrients is it missing? Name one. Name one other key nutrient that meat is missing. It has every essential nutrient.
But starchy foods like the potato have an unusually high amount of protein. This is actually something that we covered 5 years ago over on Film Theory when talking about the movie The Martian.
Yeah, protein, but it's plant protein, so it's just not as bioavailable.
5 white potatoes a day is enough to get you all the essential amino acids that you need to build proteins and repair cells. White potatoes, though, are low in vitamins A and E, which could result in nerve damage and severe vision problems if that's all.
They're also way too starchy and carbed, so You'd have to, yeah, exactly. How you gonna get your fat soluble vitamins if you can't mix fat with it now because you have such a high starch intake?
You're eating. That's why the sweet potato is an even better option, because they contain all the important stuff that the potatoes have, as well as vitamins A and E. But
Nah, they don't contain vitamin A, bud. They contain beta carotene, which is a pigment that some people can convert to vitamin A at a very unfavorable ratio, and some people can't convert it at all. So where's the vitamin A for them, huh?
I hope you like them, because to get enough calcium, you're going to need to eat about 34 per day. And this gets back to our initial question. One food for
Probably more than that, because again, he's just not considering anti-nutrients.
the rest of our lives. The way I see it, the question is asking us about one dish, one composed food, something more than just one ingredient, but not so broad that it can be an everything sandwich. So what I want to look at today are foods from menus that allow just a medium level of customization that's just right, like a Domino's pizza, or a Subway sandwich, or a Chipotle burrito. Places that let you play around a bit and build your own with a
Bro, that's kind of cheating. That's like the everything sandwich again.
handful of options. But in order to figure out which dishes from these restaurants, if any, will help keep us alive for the rest of our lives, we first have to understand what exactly our body needs in order to survive. Other than water, of course, which hopefully you can still drink outside the challenge. In
All right, let's see what he says.
general, your body needs 5 major categories of nutrients to keep going. These are carbohydrates, fats,
There is no such thing as an essential carbohydrate. Gluconeogenesis is the body's way of making its own glucose, so exogenous glucose from carbs are completely unnecessary. And not only is gluconeogenesis supply driven, it's also demand driven. So it can fill up your glycogen stores sufficiently, and if you need to demand more glucose for certain mechanisms, it can also satisfy those demands perfectly too. And it's not a stressful process because you even do it in your sleep. So no, not essential.
proteins, minerals, and vitamins. So in order to build our perfect lifetime food, let's break down the nutrients by category. First off, carbs. They tend to get a bad rap with all those no-carb diets out there, but they are essential for proper bodily function.
It's funny he mentions the no carb diets. So if they're essential, why isn't everyone on those diets just getting sick and dying, huh?
See, they serve as your body's main source of fuel because they get broken down into glucose. Without carbs,
They're not your body's main source of fuel. Your body's main source of fuel is supposed to be fat because just like every animal in nature, which is naturally in ketosis, humans are also naturally supposed to be in ketosis and are supposed to use fat as fuel. Because why would your body prefer to waste up your glycogen stores when your fat stores are exponentially bigger? So it's really hard to run out on them, and you're also more efficient when you're just fat adapted. So no, they're not your body's main. I mean, for most people, they're your body's main energy source because they're shoving tons of carbs, refined carbs, down their neck every day. But you're supposed to be fat adapted, just like every animal in nature.
your body is going to start breaking down all the protein and muscle mass inside of you for that energy, which let me tell you is not
No, it can actually just break down the fat for energy.
ideal when you're living off a single food. It's not ideal in general, to be honest. Ideally, we'd be aiming for complex carbohydrates, where the sugar molecules are strung together in long, complex chains. This means that they break down slower and keep us fuller longer. We also
Well, that's true. If you are going to eat some carbs, like some fruit in the summer, maybe to help with your right, because there's some enzymes in the sunlight that can help you metabolize the sugar better. And complex carbs are better, right? Because they slow your digestion. You're not going to spike your blood sugar as much.
also want to make sure that we're taking into account fiber. Fiber is such a complex carbohydrate that the body just can't break it down.
Exactly, it's indigestible.
As such, it helps with healthy digestion, lowers cholesterol, and helps regulate blood sugar.
How is something that is indigestible going to help you with healthy digestion? Lowers cholesterol, that's insignificant. Cholesterol is determined by your genes that have evolved and adapted over thousands of years to do exactly what they need to do. So I don't think you need to regulate your cholesterol if it's controlled by your genes, because you don't know better than your genes of what they're doing. Your genes have your cholesterol put where it needs to be. And there's also no causal evidence at all suggesting that cholesterol is harmful anyway, at least high cholesterol, quote unquote. And regulates blood sugar. Right, just because it's indigestible, right? So it's gonna also slow and affect the digestion of other things and take away from other, because it can also inhibit your absorption of other things, including sugar, which is why they say, oh, it regulates blood sugar, because you're actually just getting less sugar when you eat it with sugary foods. But consider the other things that's also taking away, like your protein and fats, because again, it can inhibit absorption.
Sugar. Whole grains, vegetables, and
So, no,
fruits
it's
are
just
all
wrong.
places to find complex carbohydrates. As such, I say we use a whole grain pasta, bread, or crust as our starting point. And as we see what other ingredients that we need, we'll just build our dish from there.
Can't wait for the lectins and the phytic acid.
Now let's talk about proteins, which are vital for the growth and maintenance of the body's cells and tissues. Now, despite the fact that they all get lumped together into one category on the nutrition label, there are actually billions of different protein species. But every protein strand is made up of the same 20 building blocks, called amino acids. 11 of those amino acids can be created by the body, 9 cannot. We tend to call these 9 the essential amino acids because we have to obtain them through our diet. Meat, poultry, eggs, dairy, and fish are complete sources of protein,
I'm liking that list.
as they all contain all 9 of these essential amino acids. Next up, fats. Just like carbs, fats often tend to get a bad rap too because, you know, fats. But in reality, fats are important for boosting the body's ability to absorb vitamins, protect organs, and build blood cells. In fact, fats help
And also are your main fuel source, assuming you're naturally in ketosis like you're supposed to be.
our neurons to function because they're wrapped in an insulating layer of fatty cells called the myelin sheath. Now, the problem isn't so much that fats are bad, it's that some fats are bad.
We better not get into this. If he says saturated fats, bro, we're gonna have some issues.
Specifically trans fats. Trans fats are made when liquid oil gets turned into solid fat, like shortening or margarine, and they
Okay, it's a good start, right? Trans fats, yeah, margarine obviously. Not a good place to start. Those are just seed oils, basically. Solidified seed oils.
most often appear in things that have been battered and fried, as well as baked goods like cakes and pies. Unsaturated fats are the ones that we want to be aiming for here.
Why would you want to aim for unsaturated fats when most of your body, almost entirely your body is made up of saturated fat? So you need to make up, you need to give your body material to create more of you by feeding it more saturated fats, not unsaturated fats.
Specifically, we want the essential fatty acids contained within those unsaturated fats, linolenic acid and alpha-linolenic acid.
What about the essential DHA and EPA? Why is he only mentioning he's only mentioning the fatty acids that can be found in plants? Feels a bit biased.
2 compounds that cannot be synthesized by the human body. Canola oil, olive oil, nuts, salmon, and avocado are
No. Canola oil and olive oil, obviously. I mean, he's right. These foods all have linoleic acid and alpha-linoleic acid, but it's just to right. These are omega-6 acids, but it's to a way higher degree and a way higher proportion than your body needs them in. You need them in a right balance with omega-3s, and all of these foods have an imbalance. They're going to give you an imbalance of omega-6s to omega-3s, aside from the salmon, of course, which has an improper ratio. So he's just not going to account for that you need it in a proper balance.
just a few of the foods that are going to fit the bill here. Finally, we have ourselves vitamins and minerals, which aid your body in a variety of ways, including normal growth and development, as well as supporting your immune system. If you've ever wondered what the difference is between vitamins and minerals, it's that minerals are inorganic and vitamins are organic. They're made from plants and animals. In total, there are 13 essential vitamins and also 13 essential minerals. So as you can start
Yep, about right, but obviously vitamin A means real vitamin A. Vitamin D means vitamin D3, which is actually the bioavailable form that your body needs. And vitamin K means vitamin K2. Again, it's the bioavailable form that your body needs to use.
to see any food that hopes to be the one has its work cut out for it. Between the 13 essential vitamins, the 13 essential minerals, the 9 essential amino acids, the essential fat.
Okay, so this is all right, except for take away this whole carbohydrate thing. Completely non-essential. And he's also, again, he's missing the omega-3 fatty acids here, such as DHA and EPA. But I mean, everything else is accurate.
Fatty acids, complex carbs, and fiber. That is quite the checklist. But looks can be a bit deceiving. Not all these nutrients are hard to come by. For instance, wheat flour, which is the basis of every crust, tortilla, and bread that we're going to discuss today, single-handedly hits every essential amino acid, both essential fatty acids, plus it contains carbs and fiber. Now, whether or not it provides enough of these nutrients is a question of portion size, and that is a whole nother can of worms. For today's purposes,
Yeah, probably not, especially with omega-3s, maybe like trace amounts.
We're strictly looking at whether an ingredient fills in a checkbox, yes or no. So, because flour has us covered
Fair.
on the carb, protein, and fat fronts, what we're really gonna need to focus on are the essential vitamins and minerals, because those things are not always super easy to find. The 4 most common vitamin deficiencies in the US are vitamin D, which among other things helps build and maintain strong bones, vitamin B6, which is vital to your nervous system
Let me guess, B12.
and immune system, and vitamins B9 and B12, which are both key to red blood cell formation and cellular function.
It's because B vitamins in general are pretty hard to come by, even in meat. If you cook your meat, right, they're heat sensitive, so they destroy a pretty large percentage of them. So you can. That's why some people are still deficient in B vitamins on high meat diets, because they're probably eating them like well done. And the more you cook it, right, it's a spectrum. The more you cook it, the more they get destroyed.
On the mineral side, calcium and iron deficiencies are quite common, so we're gonna keep an eye out for those nutrients in particular. Now then, on to the fun part. Let's see how difficult or easy it might be to build the meal that Ed Krause will have to eat for the rest of his life. Didn't hear that one, Ed? Yeah, this isn't just some thought experiment. There are real stakes involved. For you. Not me, though. Not so much. Okay, let's start at Chipotle.
I mean, if he's gonna say fine, you know what? Go ahead and say fiber and carbs are essential. Still, just like any like bread or like a single plant ingredient with some meat, and he's already completely covered.
Because, well, I pretty much was living off of nothing but Chipotle burritos for a semester or two back in college, so this could wind up being pretty validating for 20-year-old Matpat. So I'm gonna begin where every Chipotle burrito begins, the tortilla. According to their website, Chipotle's flour tortillas have exactly 4 ingredients: wheat flour, water, canola oil, and salt. As mentioned earlier, wheat flour takes care of a ton of checkboxes. Mixing in canola oil and salt, suddenly we've knocked out 18 of 39.
He's making it seem like a health food, bro.
To a pretty solid start there, Chipotle. Next up in the line, as many of us know too well, the rice. Chipotle's cilantro lime brown rice contributes a whopping 11 additional vitamins and minerals that the tortillas didn't have. Thanks for a sneak.
If you're gonna eat rice, eat white rice, because at least it's more digestible and less fibrous, and also less anti-nutrient filled. It's basically just plain carbs, empty carbs, which is not good at all. But again, if you're forced to eat rice, like, it's a better option.
Taking in that vitamin C boost there, Lime. Then come the beans. Black beans wind up hitting more of our empty check boxes than pintos, so we're gonna go with black, which contributes calcium and vitamin B9 to the cause. And that, my friends, means that we've already knocked out 31 check boxes without even selecting our protein. For protein, I'm going with chicken. Not only is it delicious and one of the cheapest proteins on the menu, it also takes care of vitamin B12, B2, sulfur, and potassium. Chipotle's mix of Monterey Jack cheese and white cheddar covers iodine, vitamin A, and vitamin D. So
Oh, okay, yeah. I was like, he went for chicken, which is too lean, so where's he gonna get his fat from? And he goes with the cheese, which again is probably pasteurized and cooked out of all the nutrients as well. But technically, there's still some in there, so he's checking it off the list.
So all that's left is picking our veggies, and fortunately all we need to knock off the list is vitamin B7, aka biotin. A deep dive into Chipotle's ingredients list reveals that the chicken and any veggie that
Just crack like an egg on it.
we just put into our burrito contains sunflower oil, which contains plenty of biotin. So not only did we hit every essential nutrient with the least expensive burrito on the menu, we did it with so few ingredients that Ed Krause has the freedom to add whatever veggies and sauces he wants. Go ahead, Ed. Your essential nutrients are already covered, so follow your heart for the rest of those toppings. No guac though, that costs extra. So basically, any chicken burrito from Chipotle is gonna meet our criteria, and that's already a pretty darn delicious option for one food for the rest of your life. It's gonna be a tough one to beat, so let's see what you got, pizza, specifically Domino's pizza. Their hand-tossed crust, of course, uses wheat flour.
I mean, again, if he has pepperoni on it, that basically just covers everything. Except for the essential carbs and fiber.
Which means that all our carb, fat, and protein boxes are taken care of. But they're not just using any old flour, theorists. They're using enriched flour, which means a handful of our essential B vitamins and iron are also taken care of. Soybean oil, salt, yeast, and cornmeal are used in their hand-tossed crust as well, which means that at least 31 of our 39 check boxes are handled by the crust alone. Domino's pizza sauce, of course, comes next. The sauce's tomatoes help us hit another box, vitamin C. And then there's the skim mozzarella cheese, cheese that tops Domino's pizzas. If traces of calcium, vitamin A, vitamin B12, and iodine weren't already present in other ingredients, well then they're handled now. So with that said, a Domino's pizza with 0 toppings nearly takes care of all our essential nutrients. Only sulfur and vitamin D really need to be addressed at this point. So is there a single topping that takes care of both? Well, yeah, basically any meat topping on the list has both. Congrats again, Ed. If Domino's winds up winning this thing, you'll have the freedom to choose your favorite Domino's meat topping to add to your pie. But wait, there's still one left to go. Subway, our sandwich shop, could be the maker or breaker of the whole thing. There are a handful of different breads to choose from at Subway, but which one hits the most of our ingredient checkboxes? That would be the Italian herbs and cheese bread, which contains, as advertised, Italian herbs and cheeses. In all, the dairy that you see in Subway's Italian herb and cheese bread takes care of every unchecked box that we need, except for possibly sulfur.
Yeah. I mean, again, probably very trace amounts if it's pasteurized, but raw dairy, yeah, raw dairy is also extremely nutritious. It's almost like meat. It's like, yeah, like there are some I'm pretty sure there's some people in like the Maasai tribe or some tribe like that like they live off only raw dairy for like a year. I don't know why, but you can do it.
Subway, geez, calm down, will you? I'm trying to make an engaging YouTube video over here. Meanwhile, you're ending this convo before we're even done picking your bread. Anyway, there are a bunch of ways to finish off the sandwich with a touch of sulfur. Again, basically any meat on the menu is gonna hit that checkbox. But there are a couple ways to do it without a meat product, specifically the Veggie Delight sandwich, the single least expensive sandwich on Subway's menu. A Veggie Delight with mustard and/or
Of course, it's the least expensive. It's the most peasant food.
onion is gonna take care of pretty much everything you need. Are you gonna want to eat mustard and veggies for the rest of your life? I don't know.
No, you're not, because you're not naturally designed to eat that.
You can, and that's really what we're interested in here today, friends. So you know what? I gotta admit it, I didn't expect any of our competitors, let alone all 3, to be able to supply us with essential nutrients this easily. But here we are, did the research, and they all are at least present in some capacity. So which one do we choose? The chicken burrito from Chipotle, the meat-topped pizza from Domino's, the Veggie Delight from Subway? Now, as I mentioned earlier, we sidestepped an important aspect to all of this. If Ed's gonna actually be able to survive off of one food, the nutrients need to be in their correct proportions. He's not exactly gonna be thriving after a few decades of only getting 2% of his daily recommended magnesium or whatever, you know? And the truth is, we don't have access to the amount of each ingredient in each dish. We only know that the ingredient is present or not, so disclaimer time, I was curious to see how easy or difficult essential nutrients are to come by in popular foods. So please do not go out and start ordering cheesy bread at Domino's every day. Not only is it not viable as a real-life diet, I don't think it's gonna be great for your health.
Yeah, okay, I'm glad he included that disclaimer there, because again, he was just checking off the list on the box, and there could be extremely trace amounts of these nutrients, especially, once again, considering the vegetables where it's bound to the fiber and the anti-nutrients are taking it away as well. And like, are you really getting the nutrients?
That said, given the 4 options laid out before us, I think I have to go with Subway's Veggie Delight on Italian herbs and spices as the food that Ed Krause should eat for the rest of his life, because there's plenty of room on that mustard drizzled bread loaf to stack a ton of spinach. And it is the only of the 3 restaurants that offer spinach on the menu. Remember all those
Bro wants oxalate for days. Bro wants calcium oxalate stones in his kidneys for days, man. Spinach.
common vitamin and mineral deficiencies that I mentioned at the start of the episode? Calcium, iron, vitamin D, vitamins B6, B9, and B12. Well, spinach is loaded with almost all of those.
Not loaded. Very fibrous, extreme oxalate content. Like, you just gotta get so much of that taken away.
Kind of makes you wonder if Americans are deficient in these vitamins and minerals because we don't eat enough green leafy veggies. Go figure. So
Yeah, because nobody likes green leafy veggies. They're bitter as hell because your body's trying to tell you they're poisonous.
throw out all that analysis we just did, because in the end, all you really need is just a sweet potato wrapped with some spinach. Sure, you'll be able to survive until the end of your natural life, but at what cost? Sign me up for the cheesy bread with jalapenos. But hey, that's just a theory. A food theory. Bon appetit. Thanks for watching, theorists. Speaking of Subway's bread, be sure to check out our episode on how the restaurant was actually taken to court for how much.
All right, well, I like the way you structured the episode. Obviously, if the information was more accurate about the specific nutrients, that'd be nice, but it was interesting to watch. So, thanks guys for watching. Shout out next time. Peace.